This episode of the Right Team Podcast is also brought to you by Styles Electric. For over 25 years, Styles Electric has been providing reliable, professional electrical installation and repair service all throughout East Texas and beyond. We specialize in industrial and commercial projects of all sizes. We are proud to be a part of our communities and schools here in East Texas. Contact us today at 903-236-2536. That's Styles Electric, reliable, professional, and experienced. Did you know that someone somewhere is talking about you? Yes, your school district, your business, your church, your nonprofit group is always the subject of a conversation somewhere. Maybe it's Facebook gossip, maybe it's talk around the water cooler, maybe it's written in a newspaper or a blog somewhere. At Right Team Services, we work with you to manage that conversation more effectively to give all of your stakeholders an opportunity to hear your message. We help you create a culture of transparency in your organization that makes your customers and stakeholders feel comfortable as part of the story, and as a result, will help your business or school district become a more effective, trusted member of your community. Contact me today at rightteamservices@gmail.com to learn more about how Right Team can help you tell your story.
Well, good morning. It is Thursday, March 26th of 2026, and this is from the Press Box on the Right Team podcast from deep in the heart of the piney woods of East Texas. I am David Weaver, host of the Right Team podcast, and as always, I have with me my co-host and sports director of KMHT 103.9 FM, the heartbeat of East Texas, and the pastor of Friendship Baptist Church in Marshall, Texas, Brother Matt Paul. We have with us again a special guest host. I guess when you do it multiple times now, you can be called a host, Andrew. But Matt's son, Andrew, his oldest son, who is a student at the University of Arkansas, finishing up his spring break, he's going to join us here. And we're going to do kind of what we did last week with the NCAA tournament overall. But I'm going to let these guys go at it a little bit and give you some insight on what they believe we can look for in the Sweet 16 coming up, which starts tonight, of course. And man, big sports day, guys. I mean, as you can see behind me here, the city of brotherly love, or brotherly shove in football season, as they like to say, Citizens Bank Park, which actually, I was just reading a report this morning that this has been rated the #1 ballpark in Major League Baseball. I did not know that. Of all places in Philadelphia, but of course, my Texas Rangers, as you can see, as I'm in garbed out with my jersey and everything, begin their season today on opening day in Philadelphia. And at some point, I'll share my thoughts on interleague play on opening day, but we don't have time for that on this podcast because I want to get to this discussion of college basketball and the Sweet 16. We're going to do it a little bit differently than we did last week. I'm really just going to throw it over to these guys and let them go at it, and then I'm just going to sit back and listen like everyone else. And then I'll come back when they are done, and we'll get into some baseball and look at the Houston Astros a little bit. So you guys take it away. Tell us what we can expect this weekend.
Cool. And I just thought, Andrew, if you're good with it, we take it kind of night by night. I know obviously tonight, David, for the two of us, the big game is Arkansas and Arizona. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, neither of us feel great about our chances tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, spread started at 9.5, one of the bigger ones of the whole weekend. It's moved down to 7.5. The public loves Arkansas and ACUF, which is typically when the public loves a team, it's not a good sign. Because here's the thing, we offensively we're one of the most prolific teams in the country, but the problem is Arizona's offense is not quite as good as ours, but they're pretty dang good too, and they are one of, if not the best defensive teams still playing in the tournament right now. I kind of see it going this way. I see ACUF having another ACUF night, anywhere from 35 to 40, but we lose by 15. I mean, I had Arkansas winning in my bracket, but it's just the more you watch Arizona, they're just so good. And I know we have the best player in the game. I mean, in this matchup, we have the best player. And if you remember, not comparing him to this player, but it's kind of reminiscent of those like 2016, 2015 years of the Cavs, where like those Cavs teams would go into games where they were not the best team by any means, but they had the best player and they'd win games sometimes. And so I think Arizona's going to win, and I think if this is the best 4 out of 7 series, I think Arizona wins every time. But at the end of the day, it's not. It's one game, and we have the best player. So,
Yeah, I think that as well. It's curious. Tommy Lloyd's name is really popping up around North Carolina a lot right now.
yeah.
He was even asked about that, and he gave one of those answers where you're like, okay, you clearly didn't say no. You just said you're focused on this team right now. So, that's what I think we're going to need. We're going to need a historic night from the guy who is the best player in the game. And I think we're maybe going to need a distracted Arizona team potentially to play Arizona. If Arizona plays well, we're not winning this game. I don't care how good AKF does.
Right.
But on any given night, Arizona could struggle a little bit and maybe you got a shot. But, that's the game we're looking forward to most. But I kind of wanted to, if you're good at this, Andrew, break it down night by night. And if you look at tonight, if there's a shot at an upset, who are you taking tonight?
Well, it's you look at, or you considering upset by seed or by the lines? Because
No, more the favorite and the underdog. Yeah, not necessarily by seed, but the favorite and the underdog.
If you look at, Illinois is only a 2.5 underdog, and Iowa's only a 1.5 underdog. If I'm looking at upsets, it's either Texas or Arkansas, and because I like Texas more than I like us. I mean, they're playing. Tremont, Mark, and Swain are both playing really good basketball right now. You have sometimes that first 4, I think, can hurt you if in that first weekend because it's 3 games and whatever. But I think if you survive out of that, playing more games helps you at that point. And I mean, they beat a BYU team. They beat a Gonzaga team they owned for the entire second half, and a BYU team that was a wire-to-wire win, essentially. I mean, BYU went on little runs here and there to make it close, but Texas withstood every single one of them. I mean, Purdue's a good team. They got a lot of experience, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Purdue in March. The same can be said about Arizona, but it's either of these teams. It's these teams in March. I mean, Arizona with Tommy Lloyd, correct me if I'm wrong, hadn't won a Sweet 16 game. This is the extent of where they've made it. I think every time.
Yeah.
I mean, Purdue loves losing to a double-digit seed. There's all the lists. Is 11 been one of the ones yet, or would this be a new one for them?
I felt like even some double-digit seeds that didn't exist, they've lost to. I don't know. I mean, they have
16,
a history,
15,
man.
13. I mean, I don't know if of the 2 games today that would be truly considered an upset. I like Texas more than I like Arkansas. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I'll say Iowa's not a major underdog, mostly because they're only about 1.5 because they've played Nebraska twice. But I'm a little bummed. I'm not bummed that I've got the Marshall Maverick basketball banquet tonight. I'm excited for that, but that means I won't be able to watch Iowa, Nebraska, and I tell you what, that's going to be a dogfight. 2 teams that know each other well, 2 states that don't like each other. I think that has potential to certainly be an upset, even though it would be a very mild one. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I think the obvious, and I'll let you talk about this as well, Andrew. I think the obvious game of the night is Illinois and Houston. Those are 2 teams that I think can win it all, and they're meeting in the Sweet 16. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one tonight?
Yeah, Houston's style of basketball is knockout, drag out. They want to turn it into a fight, and I think Illinois has the size and physicality to match up with that pretty well. I mean, they can trot out a lineup out there of Wagler at how tall is he? He's this thing doesn't have all their sizes on there, but I mean they can trot out a huge lineup. They have a bunch of big dudes, and I mean I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how. I'll put it this way, Houston goes out there and wins a lot of games, 70 to 60, 60 to 68 to 62. If Houston's only going to score 68 points tonight, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Their typical style of defense, while it will still slow down Illinois, I'm sure, it's not going to be enough to go out there and be like, we can just go out there and beat them up and win this game. Their offense is going to need to be on tonight because Illinois can score the ball, and they're just a big team. They can have a lineup out there anytime. I think a guy, the shortest guy being like 6'7" or 6'8".
Yeah.
It's just that when you're that big, Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I compare it to when Houston played Arkansas. Arkansas is a prolific offensive team. We scored 85 on them. It's
Right.
just Houston made everything. They scored, I think it was 94-85 or something like that.
They don't need to do that. Watching that game was ridiculous. I've never seen a Houston offense score that many points. But
I know.
if they just need to be reminiscent of that, and that if their offense, does what it can do, they'll win the game. But if their offense does what it did against Kansas earlier in the season, when they have a 6-minute scoring drought, I mean, their defense typically can make it where they can, withstand scoring droughts. Illinois will not. They won't fold at the defense.
Yeah. Give me we'll move to Friday here in a second. Give me your 4 winners tonight. Who wins the 4 games?
I'm gonna go with Purdue, but Texas is gonna be right there. That one, I think Texas covers that 7.5 spread at least. They'll be right there. Give me Iowa. I think their coach is better. He's won a lot at smaller levels. This is kind of this is his first year at Iowa, or second year.
First year.
And he's won a lot lower levels. I think he'll be more prepared for this game. And Bennett Sturts is playing very well right now, and Iowa is too. Give me Arizona to win this one. It just, I don't, as much as I love Arkansas, I don't see it happening. And then I'll go a little upset here. I'll take Illinois to beat Houston.
Yeah, I had Arizona winning that game in my bracket, so I'll stick with it. I have Purdue in the Final Four, so obviously I'm picking them. I'll differ with you. I have Houston in the Final Four, so I'm picking them tonight. I will say I just am enthralled by that Iowa-Nebraska game. It feels like it's just going to come down to, it's just like 2 family members that hate each other playing each other in a game. But I'm with you. I'm going to go Iowa in that one. I feel like this is an ideal matchup for them. I feel like if Iowa, after that big upset over Florida, if they were having to play a 4 seed like Arkansas or Alabama, I'd be like, you're not doing this again. But Nebraska, it doesn't matter that it's another upset potential. It's Iowa, Nebraska. You're locked in on this game no matter what. All right, so we shift to Friday, and just by seeds, it's pretty chalky. A 1-5, a 1-4, a 2-3. We do have Tennessee a 6 down there playing Iowa State the 2. Just by seeds, if the worst seed is going to win tomorrow night, which one's it going to be? If you got to pick one worst seed of the matchup to win.
Tennessee. I think I have them my Elite Eight, my bracket as it is now, given I had them beating Kentucky, not Iowa State. But still, Tennessee, they got a lot of size, and Iowa State has had they'll lay an egg, and I don't know. I think Tennessee with Rick Barnes, they might finally kind of start to get over a hump this year, and at least make that Elite Eight. Given then they run into a buzzsaw, but I think they get this.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to take Michigan State and Izzo over Hurley, which what an epic matchup, right? I mean, it's basically a pick'em game. That whole region. I mean, going out to DC and watching Duke versus Pitino, Shire versus Pitino, and then Izzo versus Hurley. I mean, sign me up for that. My goodness. I think that's elite stuff right there. I don't know if there was a game you were circling that you're like, I want to watch this one. Someone tells you, Andrew, you can only watch one game Friday night. Which one of those games would you want to watch?
I might say St. John's and Duke. I'm really intrigued by it because Duke's only really put together one good half in this tournament.
Yeah.
The first half against Siena, they lost by 11? And then they won by 17 in the second half, but I don't know if I'm going to go as far as to call it a good half still. I mean, it was like Siena led that game for 18 minutes. And it's like if an 11-point lead, at the end of the day, like they outscored them by 17, but it's like most of that came in the last 4 minutes of that half. Like Siena led for until 4 to 5 minutes to go in the half. And it's when that's a 16 seed, that's a pretty poor performance. And then you look at Duke against TCU, and they took care of business by all means in that game, but TCU was down by 4 at halftime, and then they turned it on in the second half. Well, if you give St. John's the first half that they've been given teams, St. John's won't be down. Like if you give St. John's the Siena first half, they'll be up 25 points. If you give them the TCU first half, they'll be up 8 points. And it's like if you give either of those first halves to St. John's and Patino, you're putting yourself in a hole that's significantly harder to climb out of. And like we talked about, this might be one of the best teams in the country. So maybe they just haven't been, getting worked up for a 16 seed and a 9 seed. And they'll, when it comes time for a 5 in Patino, they'll have it all figured out. But it's just, this is a team right now, you want to be playing your best basketball in March, and they're not right now, which is funny to say because, they won by 23 last week. So, I mean, it's a lot of points, but they went on a 26-8 run in the second half. And that was just kind of like, that was it. And that was 7 minutes and 27 seconds of basketball. You won by 21 points and 23 points, and you outscored them by 18 in 7 minutes.
Yep.
So when you look at the other, 33 minutes of the game, it was and obviously you can't take that away. They did that, but when you look at the other 33 minutes of the game, they won by 5. And I just don't know that a team like St. John's will let you outscore them by 16 over a 7-minute stretch.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes it interesting.
It does. I'll tell you a game that I think is interesting. I don't know that I think it's going to be close, but David, I think you'll get a kick out of this. I'm just looking at the over-unders, what they expect the point total to be. And Friday night, St. John's Duke, it's 141. Michigan State UConn's only 134. Iowa State Tennessee, it's only 138. Alabama Michigan, it's 172. Like they are expecting, which that's what Bama doesn't really play defense. The Bama and Arkansas had a game this year. It was 117, 115 in double overtime, and it was like I just didn't. It was like, hey, I hope you missed that shot. Like we're not really going to try to defend you. I think the ride ends here for Bama. I think they run out of steam. Of course, if they hit 19 3-pointers, it could be different. But 172 is a wild point total. I mean, that's 86-86 if it goes to overtime, which means if Michigan wins by 8 or 9, you're talking about a lot of points. So that could be a very, very entertaining game. I really, though, just think that I feel like, to me, Friday night offers the more entertaining as far as I don't know how this is going to go games. I can see Tennessee, Iowa State come down the wire. I can see Michigan State, UConn come down the wire. I can see Duke, St. John's come down to the wire. I think it's going to be really, really good. I'll tell you my 4 winners for Friday are I'm still going to go Duke. I'm going to go Duke, Michigan, Michigan State, and Tennessee. What do you got, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm sticking. I got Duke, Michigan, and then I'm going Tennessee, UConn. But to add to what you said out there, it's kind of Thursday night you start the night with the Texas, see if they're going to continue their run, and then you get the fun little Big Ten game there with the upset from and then you get Arkansas, and then from that point on, it's just the first 3 games of the is that's your. Are we getting an upset and Nebraska, Iowa? And then from that point on, it's just high quality basketball. Really and, I will say, though, you're talking about Bama, Michigan. I see the Bama, Michigan and the Arkansas, Arizona game as being almost exactly the same, where it's just 2 teams that have insane offenses that if they're on at the right time can beat anyone. I think we get one of the 2. I do not feel confident like a standalone. Like you have to take one, but if you give me both the games and pick 2 games and you just need one upset to happen, I think we could get one of the 2. Because it's just you look at 2 teams, if their offense is performing at peak capacity, which Bama's coming off a game in which it very much was. Bama's number 1 in 3-point makes in the entire country. And they're not I think they're number 9 in 3-pointers attempted, which means don't get me wrong, they're shooting a lot of 3s still, but it's not like they're just shooting a ton of them. They're not even, they're number 9 in that, whereas the number 1 in makes, so they're making a lot of 3s. And I think you'll get one of of that those two pods
Of the big upsets.
with Bama or Arkansas, because it's just both teams, if their offense is completely on, can win the game. And
Yeah.
it's not crazy to say one of them will be on, but
I'm curious to see that. And of course, those are both SEC teams. And David, you've probably seen this. All 4 SEC teams are underdogs. 2 of them substantial, actually 3 of them substantial underdogs, and Tennessee's 3.5. I mean, we could be looking at a world where the Elite Eight has nobody from the SEC unless somebody pulls an upset.
I got to think somebody's going to pull one. I mean, otherwise we're having another conversation this time next week, probably, right?
Yeah.
That was great, guys. I want you to go ahead and go on record here now officially as to, I know since we're not going to be able to record anything prior to the Elite Eight over the weekend, who's going to be your Final Four teams?
Well, I'll say my Final 4 that I originally predicted are all still in it, so I'm staying with it. I got Duke over Houston. I got Michigan over Purdue, and then I got Michigan beating Duke in the championship. Do I feel great about having Duke that far right now? Not necessarily. Do I feel great about having Michigan winning it all? Yes, absolutely. But yeah, Michigan, Purdue, Duke, Houston's what I got.
I've lost one with Florida. I had Florida over Illinois in the Elite Eight, so I'm gonna stick with going with Illinois to win that one. Connecticut, I've been really high on them. I mean, I had Connecticut losing to Florida, but with this, obviously Florida losing, I think Connecticut's gonna make the championship game. So. I mean, I'm sticking with them. I've been really high on them the whole time. Michigan, that's my winner, so I'm having them. And then I have Arkansas on my bracket. Just the more I watch Arizona, I don't see any way it happens. But I don't know. If I picked Arkansas,
Commend you for not leaning in the homerism of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I've watched enough Arkansas sports in my life to realize that. Listen, we'll be good, but there's typically a point when the road ends, and feels like it ends.
Actually, for Arkansas sports, the typical would be we beat Arizona, then lose to Texas in the regional final. That would be typical Arkansas right there.
Or like,
for you guys' sake, that better not happen.
Or like Derek, we beat him, then Acuff steps off the court and breaks his ankle or something.
Right, something like that. Yeah.
No, we don't want that. No, we don't want that because we want him healthy.
Yeah, because David's got plans for the Mavericks.
I've got plans,
so he doesn't want that
at all. And so anyway, that's great. Well, guys, I do appreciate that. That's great stuff. And I don't know if you guys have followed us out there, if you're listening today on the show, but these guys know basketball, and so it's just fun to hear them talk about it, and we appreciate that. I mean, I'll go ahead and lay out my Final Four picks. I'm very encouraged by your take on Texas against Purdue tonight. I've been nervous every game, and I'm very nervous for this one. But I have been reading some stuff where and you can see it. I'm just sometimes it's really hard for a fan to see and be truthful about what you're seeing, right? But I'm seeing enough where, and you guys kind of confirmed it, that Texas may actually have pound for pound more talent right now if they play well. And they've been playing well the last week or so. So who knows? But I am excited to watch that one tonight. And if they lose, then I'm done for the year. But I won't watch any. No, that's not true. But my Final Four picks are still a lot. Well, yes, my Final Four picks are still alive. I picked Duke. I went with Houston. I went with Arizona, and I went with Michigan. Of course, I have Arizona winning the whole thing. So, I'll be watching that intently as well with your Hogs. Okay. Well, appreciate that. That was our Sweet 16 preview. Again, Matt Paul and Andrew Paul bringing that to you here on the Right Team podcast. I'm going to move into some baseball here. Andrew, you're welcome to stick around and jump in on that as well. I don't know how much you are into baseball up there in Arkansas. I know you guys don't play baseball up there at all, but
we play baseball.
But this is not going to be I did a Rangers preview yesterday, and then as I got into this last night, I thought, what have I signed up to do? I am not a Houston Astros fan. I really don't know a whole lot about what goes on down there other than the fact that I think 13, 14 times a year, I want to beat their brains in, right? With my boys. But there are some things going down there in Houston. And again, they are our other team here in Texas that we follow in Major League Baseball, of course. And depending on what side of the aisle you're on, they're either the worst cheaters in sports history or they have a dynasty. And there really is no in between with that. I got some friends that I like to kid, well, mostly kid. Some of it's true, but I say we're tied now in World Series championships. That 2017 one does not count. It does not count as cheating. So let's get into this real quickly here, and we'll talk a little baseball again. It's opening day. The Astros, of course, do start their season today. They're hosting the Angels at Dakin Park there in Houston. I believe that game, first pitch, is right at 3 o'clock or a little bit after. And so with it being opening day, they are hosting the Angels in a division game. That's another thing, and I think I mentioned it at the top. I'm not a real big fan of the interleague. I'm not a real big fan, honestly, of interleague play in general. During the regular season, I'm kind of old school that way, but I certainly don't like it on opening day. But I think the big question this club has to ask itself is, looking back at last season, is can they just stay healthy and stay on the field? Didn't know this until I started doing a little research for this, but did you guys know that they had the second most days spent on the injured list by starters last year in Major League Baseball?
It was bad. I knew it was bad.
Yeah. Yordan Alvarez is really to the Astros what Corey Seager is to the Rangers, really what Shohei Ohtani is to the Dodgers. I mean, he is their guy and changes their lineup completely. He was out the vast majority of last year. You had their big acquisition they got from the Cubs, Itzhak Paredes. He was out for most of the second half. Their all-star shortstop, Jeremy Pena, was out for a considerable amount of time, and their closer, Hader, was down for a lot. So, I mean, they were moving pieces around, just trying to put a lineup together, and we're still in the race, into mid-September. And I don't really know what to think of that, other than it could be scary if they're able to just stay healthy. That's the big question, I think, if you're an Astros fan. The other one is, if you don't know, if you don't follow this club like I don't follow them regularly, you really don't know and don't recognize much of their pitching staff this year when you look at it. You may know Hunter Brown. He kind of burst on the scene last year, and he's become their ace, but they've let Framber Valdez go in free agency. They've let Justin Verlander go, of course, in free agency. That was a couple years ago. They've signed a Japanese pitcher, Tatsuya Imai, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, and that's okay. He's an Astro. And Mike Burrows. That's been their biggest pitching signings to add to this pitching staff. And again, the Japanese pitcher is supposed to be one of those Japanese guys. He's supposed to be an impact player for them, but is he going to replace Framber Valdez and what he gave you? I'm not real sure. I think that has to be seen. They're also returning Christian Javier and then Lance McCullers Jr. Speaking of injury problems, he will be out probably half the season at some point. But that's your starting pitching staff going into opening day in Houston. A lot of questions there as well. Hunter Brown's as good as it gets, though. He's a sleeper for Cy Young in the American League this year, in my opinion. If they can score him enough runs, which leads us to their lineup, which, if without looking at this, other than Jose Altuve and Alvarez, it's really hard for me to remember who actually is swinging a bat in the Houston lineup. Altuve's back. Of course, he's a veteran. He's kind of become the modern day Craig Biggio for them. He's just Mr. Astro. And love him, hate him. Again, he's one of those that just kind of epitomizes what Houston's been the last 10 years. You either love Jose Altuve or you hate him. It's just, there is no in between there. We mentioned Paredes. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be an impact bat for them. Alvarez, of course, is key for their success. I had forgotten that they had actually brought back Carlos Correa last season, and he's back in their lineup now. Kind of hard to figure out where he's going to play, actually, with Pena at shortstop, Paredes at third, and Altuve now back at second, which, man, talk about a failed experiment. Y'all remember last year at this time when they were putting him in left field, and what a disaster that was for them.
That was right.
that was one thing. And I don't know that I can ever remember a franchise putting the face of their franchise in such an awkward position and it being so embarrassing for that guy. You just don't do that normally to your guys who are part of your core and going to be in the Hall of Fame. For him, it was good that he went back to second base toward the middle part of the season and they got him out of there. But Yanner Diaz and Christian Walker are back. Christian Walker is a good defensive first baseman for them. Leaves a lot to be desired offensively. But again, that's kind of their lineup for them. And they've got a lot of youth in the outfield. Jake Myers gives them a pretty good center fielder. They did get the Cam Smith in the Kyle Tucker trade. You guys know who Cam Smith is, I'm sure, being Cubs fans. Andrew, are you a Cubs fan like your dad, or?
Yeah, I'll be honest. MLB, I don't really start looking at it too much till September or October rolls around.
It's probably good. That's kind of how I am with the NBA. Especially this year. But yeah, Cam Smith came over. He was the key in that Cubs trade, and he'll be playing right field for the Astros. Kind of had an up and down rookie season last year. Shows a lot of tools. I kind of liken him to a poor man's Evan Carter right now for the Rangers. You just don't know what you're going to get yet. He's too young, and he's been hurt a lot. So, but that's your Astros outfield. And finally, their question here for Houston as they get ready to open up the season today again against the Angels is that, let's just say they didn't light it up defensively last year. They were ranked 20th in the league last year in defensive runs saved. I really don't know how you break that down in terms of a stat and what that means. It's just pretty bad. I just know that. Anytime you rank outside the top 15 in any category, that's a category that you need to improve in Major League Baseball. And so they are at 20, that means they're on the back half defensively. Don't really know how that's going to get better if you've got Altuve and Correa and Pena and those guys who are, let's just say defensively, they may have lost a step. Pena's okay, but and Walker probably makes up for a lot of that, but they got some questions to answer there. Honestly, and I'm just going to close by saying this in full honesty. I was a Houston Astros fan back, when they were playing in the Astrodome, really. I mean, I kind of got turned off when they closed the doors on the Astrodome. I mean, some of my greatest childhood memories are in that place. But, they were a National League ball club. I mean, they were built like a National League ball club, which is pitching, defense, speed, that kind of thing. Now they have become a true American League ball club in that they can't play defense. And so congratulations. It took you 2 World Series championships, but you're finally recognized as a American League organization by me. But anyway, that is your very quick Houston Astros preview for this season. I know it comes in the nick of time here. We're just a few hours away from first pitch. But I did want to throw that out there to just kind of give our Astro fan followers out there. Number one, I'll let you know that I'm praying for you and your soul by doing that. But yeah, they are. I'll be honest. When the Rangers aren't in it, I probably will pull for them. If certainly if they're facing a Dodgers or a Yankees, the evil empire up there for sure. But anyway, man, I'm just glad. All of that to say, man, I'm just glad baseball's back. I mean, Matt, you and I have talked about the gathering storm, if you will, about the labor issues that are coming up. And I don't know if you guys watched any at all or heard about the Netflix game last night. Left much to be desired. The production of that on Netflix, which I know, hey, Netflix doing something that's kind of like Nickelodeon doing the slime stuff, but it was more of a circus, really. I mean, they had so much going on. It was hard to focus on the actual game, which was hard to focus anyway, because it was 7-0 in the 5th inning. Kind of had the feel of extended spring training, but anyway, baseball is here and I'm here for it. So, excited to see what transpires here again in the midst of March Madness. Got a lot of stuff here converging on this day, of all things.
Yep.
Okay, we're now to the back page portion of our show. Matt, do you have any headlines that you've pulled for us to talk about today?
I got a few. One of them, David, you'll have some comments on. A couple of them, I think Andrew will. Matt Stepp tweeted a little over an hour ago. He's expecting at least one, maybe two head football coaching vacancies in East Texas to be filled today. Of course, East Texas is kind of a broad term. I don't know exactly what that entails, but he's expecting at least one, maybe two vacancies to be filled. I don't know if you have any insight on that, David, or have any speculation as to which schools that may be. You know how he calls them step bombs, and he sort of just kind of whets your appetite for it before he lets it be made known. But expecting some new coaches here in East Texas today.
In the district the couple of districts that you and I really follow, I'm not aware that there are any spots open.
I know.
And we're talking about District 10 5A and 19 2A, at least right now. You know, the Legion Fields, Wascom, Harleton, that district, I'm not aware, at least at the top of that league, of any openings. And then, of course, the 5A district, I'm not aware of any there. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know Jack Alvarez went to center, and if I've heard correctly, his son is joining him there, which would mean Garrison was open. I don't know if Garrison's filled that spot. But if they haven't, that would be a possibility.
And the way that's set up down there, I don't know if you followed that with Coach Alvarez, but that's kind of a coach in waiting thing. His son is joining him there to be the next head coach after Jack steps down again, whenever that is. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that is one opening. You got that one right in Garrison, but I don't know of any others. And as you say, East Texas is kind of as you define it yourself. We even do it on this show sometimes, depending, we adopted Martin's Mill on their playoff run in basketball just so we could keep talking about basketball. But they're on the extreme west of what I'm comfortable with saying is East Texas for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see of that. The other one, I know Andrew will have a comment on that. You may have a comment as well, David. I'm sure you've seen LSU has hired Will Wade back as their head basketball coach. Just 4 years to the day of dismissing him right before the NCAA tournament in 2022. North Carolina State, boy, you got to feel for them. And yet at the same time, you have to be like, hey, didn't you maybe see that coming potentially? But LSU has not been competitive since Wade left. You wonder, I bet that changes fairly quickly, but I don't know if either of y'all have thoughts on that, but that's a big story right now.
Yeah. I saw, first of all, it's a little confusing because his buyout dropped by $2 million if they just waited until April 1st. So I don't know why, this was such I'm surprised it happened as of now, but also, it's very interesting that it wasn't like he was fired for like incompetencies or like, even like moral things. It was just straight up cheating. Like, yeah. Like, you look at Arkansas, Bobby Petrino, like we rehired him, but that was just like some moral gray stuff, like where it was like, probably shouldn't be doing that. But
right.
What Will Wade did was straight up illegal in the sport, and it happened at that place. So it's just a little interesting that they'd be willing to. I don't know. I just that's intriguing. I mean, I get it because they just hired the McNeese AD to be on he's like a deputy AD something at LSU, which McNeese is where Will Wade was at prior to North Carolina State. But I don't know. That's just an interesting.
I knew Will Wade was headed to LSU when they made that hire.
Yeah, I mean,
they were a package deal, and when they hired him, I believe yesterday and announced that, I was figuring, okay, this is going to happen pretty quick. I don't think they would have made that hire if that wasn't happening.
Yeah,
I'm like Andrew. I'm like number one, and we were kind of talking about this before we started recording the podcast. LSU likes to consider itself a blue blood, and they have been, and you mentioned it, Matt, they've been irrelevant in basketball now for a while, ever since he left. And it was kind of funny. Four years ago, if I'd have told my LSU buddies Lane Kiffin's going to be your next head football coach, they would have laughed me out of the room because, at the time, They thought they were going to get Lincoln Riley. I don't know if you ever remember that. And then he ditched him and went to USC. But LSU now is desperate. I mean, they're and the $2 million buyout thing is just pittance to them. I mean, they got a $40 million football roster coming up in the fall. So, yeah. I mean, they're throwing down the gauntlet right now and saying we're LSU and it's time for us to get our relevancy back. And they've got it in football, or they think they do. And now basketball, I guess they think Will Wade gives them relevancy. I'm not 100% sure about that myself.
More than what they've had.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's their definition of relevancy. At least he was the last good thing they had until they had to run him off. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me, this hire, at all. It does kind of surprise me of the timing of it a little bit. But yeah. But once that opening happened and he knew he was going to be available, he was pretty much their number one target.
Yeah. My last thing, an absolutely elite night in the NBA last night. David, our Mavericks did what we want, keep losing, but look good, look fun while doing it. They did. Jamal Murray scores 53. Jokic puts up a 23, 21, 19. Just insane. Hey,
brother.
Yep. Hey, the Thunder are going to run away with everything, right? Well, the Celtics beat them by 10 last night. And if you haven't looked, the Spurs are only 2 games behind the Thunder now in the standings. And we know who holds the tiebreaker right there, which means the Spurs are very alive for the number 1 seed. The Hawks, who got a lot better when they traded Trae Young, go into Detroit, the leader in the East, and beat them in overtime, 130 to 129. Luka and LeBron put up another huge night. And how about the Timberwolves without Anthony Edwards beating the Rockets in overtime? They were down by 13 in overtime. They went on a 15-0 run just in overtime. KD gets fouled, goes to the line with 3 seconds left, down 2, and misses the first one, then has to miss the second one, and then they lose the game. Just a wild night in the association. Andrew, I know you keep up with that. I'm sure you have thoughts on it as well.
Well, all I'm going to say is, people pretty much, and rightfully so, have looked at the West as it's the Thunder and the Spurs, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. The Lakers in their last 11 games have won 10 of them. Yep. And those are wins over, and the one loss is on the road by 3 of the Pistons, which that's not a bad loss. Their wins are at the Magic, at the Heat, at the Rockets twice, home with the Nuggets, home with the T-Wolves, home with the Knicks. Those are a bunch of playoff teams right there.
Yep.
The Lakers just went 10-1 in that stretch, with their one loss being to the 1 seed in the East by 3 points. If it's easy to say, I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll be one of those 2 teams as the 1 and 2 seed in the West, but you have LeBron and Luka coming into form at the right time, and they're playing a brand of basketball right now that's winning.
And Jokic and Murray, who have won a championship, starting to round into form. What we need in the West is those 4 to be the Final 4, because that's going to be elite. Those are going to be elite series to watch.
Yeah, but even if it's not, I mean, you're getting the T-Wolves with Ant or the Rockets with as long as it's those 6. I just don't want to see anyone else be in here. It needs to be one of the 6 can beat the 3 and it'll be all right, and the 5 can beat the 4 and it'll be all right. We just don't need to see a 7 or do something, which you don't think they will.
But just what a night, and looking at I don't know, the East top 4 rounding into form as well, with Atlanta a surprise number 5 right now. I think it's shaping up to be look, you could be looking at a first round matchup right now of LeBron and Luka against KD, and of Anthony Edwards against Jokic and Murray. First round. I mean, these are crazy matchups. But last night, I felt like it was almost like the NBA said, "Hey, Major League Baseball is starting tonight. Let's show everybody that you need to keep paying attention to the NBA," because it was an electric night, and the playoffs are right around the corner. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Luka's averaging in this stretch 40 a game, almost 40 a game.
Yeah, I just saw that. I can get in over the last
39 point something is what I heard.
It's Yeah, and over the last 11 games, it's 11 straight 30-point games, averaging 39.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Crazy.
But again, let's trade that guy.
Yeah, you don't want that on your team.
Every bucket he makes is a dagger.
Yeah.
Well, what did
Well,
Anthony
yeah.
Davis do in the last 10 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget about Max Christie. Don't forget about him.
$600,000 a night. I mean, he made
Yeah.
$600,000 a night. That's what he made in the last 10 games.
At least the Wizards are paying it now.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I like AD. I mean, and I said
Yeah.
this during the whole thing. I like AD. In another time, in another place, in another transaction, I would love for him to be with the Mavs, but not this one.
Or even just 4 years earlier. I mean, still it's Luka, I know, but 4 years prior, Anthony Davis, before he started falling apart, was arguably top 3 player in the world.
Yeah. And he wants to be again. It's just it's really hard to live up to that when you're never in uniform.
Right.
On the court.
Yep.
Anyway, good stuff there for sure. I did have a couple of here that I wanted to mention. And we kind of joked about this at the end, or actually during the transfer portal season. But did you guys see where TJ Finley has finally declared for the NFL draft? He is no longer with Incarnate Word, which was his 7th program in 7 years in football. Started at LSU, then went to Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Tulane. Played last year at Georgia State, and then announced, of course, earlier this year that he was entering the transfer portal. And he wound up at Incarnate Word there in San Antonio. But he has officially declared for the NFL draft, which it's kind of late to the game in doing that.
Don't think it matters much, David.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got word that the Browns are looking at using their 3rd-round pick on him. So,
do you think the transfer portal is introduced?
Sorry. While I'm remembering it and you bring it up, but segue to that, I will have my 1st-round mock tomorrow, remember, on Fast Break Friday. So
that's right. That's right.
And but yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Go ahead, Andrew. You had something?
So do you think when the transfer portal was introduced, it was ever imagined to be used in this fashion by him? Because you see some guys, 4 schools in 4 years, which that's bad. But at least, maybe, but, he didn't end up playing, but 7 schools in 7 years. At some point, someone needs to look in that and be like, all right, something's not right with this system.
Or should we name the transfer portal after him now?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, he's going to be prime coaching candidate because he's been in 7 different offensive systems.
He's got connections.
College career. But just look at the progression here. That's kind of funny as I'm looking at it here. Of course, he starts at LSU, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, big-time recruit. Transfers to Auburn, still SEC. Then we go to Texas State. That's just a step down, right? Of course. And then we're at Western Kentucky. We go to Tulane. Then we're down to Georgia. I see a trend here from Georgia State to Incarnate Word. I don't really think Incarnate Word's NIL budget is on par with LSU. Let's just put it that way. And so he's probably thinking, if I can just get a job somewhere in the NFL as a practice squad quarterback, I'll make more money than I am at Incarnate Word. That's a business decision. Yeah. So, it is what it is.
If we
TJ Finley is that. Incarnate Word's looking for a quarterback. That's probably the more important thing we need to talk about this morning.
If we gave him 3 more years, he may have been an East Texas Baptist Tiger. We could have.
Yeah, could have come up here and got him an NIL deal with Dairy Queen or something.
Yeah.
I feel like, Andrew, you should have come on the podcast and declared for the NFL draft as well. I think it would have about the same impact.
Probably.
Yeah.
Andrew is a one-school loyal guy. He's never leaving Fayetteville.
Right. I've been at the same place.
7-year student at Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Okay, here another part here to close out the back page. My back page here anyway is a little update on our local soccer playoffs, guys. I know you guys are riveted by this as well, but we do have a few of our local teams here in East Texas that advanced to the regional semifinal round. Just kind of want to run those down here very quickly. In the 5A D2 ranks, Longview, of course, has now advanced. They will be playing, I believe, tomorrow night in Lufkin. Is where their game is set. So the Lobos are in the regional semis there in the region 2 of that bracket. We got some pretty good soccer that goes on here in 4A, apparently, because in 4A Division 1, On the boys' side, Kilgore and Palestine have advanced to the regional semis, and if they, of course, win those matchups, they can meet in the regional final next week. In the 4A D2 ranks, Pittsburgh and Van are in the semifinals, and they already have their game scheduled here for the next couple of days. So we got 4 shots there to get into the regional semis, and the odds itself say you might actually have 1 or 2 come out of that and go to the state tournament. So anyway, good congratulations to the 4A boys soccer teams in our area. And then on the girls' side, in 4A D1, both Kilgore and Bullard. So Kilgore actually has both boys and girls in the regional semis. And then 4A D2 on the girls' side, Henderson and Athens are playing. Athens is playing Sunnyvale in their regional semi matchup this weekend. So anyway, just wanted to give a shout out to our local teams that are playing high school soccer still here almost in April of soccer season. So anyway, that concludes the back page portion here of the program. Let's move on here quickly to our This Date in Sports History portion. Got a couple of events here. Just kind of wanted to see if you guys remember any of this. Well, when I say remember, I mean Andrew, of course, will have to have probably read it in a history book. But on this date in 1974, local hero George Foreman had a TKO of Ken Norton to win the WBA, WBC, and the Ring heavyweight titles in a match that was fought in Caracas, Venezuela. And I believe that was George's initial winning of the heavyweight championship, if I'm not mistaken. He beat Ken Norton Sr. Beat Ken Norton Sr. for that. You ever heard of George Foreman there, Andrew?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay. Want to test your knowledge, see if your dad's raising you right. Out there in Gill community, literally, which of course has George Foreman's ranch. On this date in 1979, I know you guys know this one, both of you. Michigan State Magic Johnson beat Indiana State and none other than Larry Bird in the NCAA championship game, 75-64. Magic beat Bird. Be honest with you, when my son was at DBU and he was playing in the Missouri Valley Conference in baseball, we had Indiana State on the schedule in the Missouri Valley Conference, and they still beat the drum as being Larry Bird's alma mater. But if I don't know, are they still relevant in college basketball wherever they're at? Do we ever hear?
They had the occasional competitive year in the Mo Valley, but that's about it.
Baseball.
So they're still living off Larry's coattails.
Yeah, they've had some good baseball seasons recently. Yeah.
What did it take in a recruiting pitch to get him to come to Indiana State instead of Indiana?
I don't know, man.
I mean, Hoosier Nation probably still curses whoever was coaching at that time.
Yeah.
For missing out on that one. But anyway, that was at the time the highest rated game in the history of televised college basketball. And of course, that carried on into the NBA for a couple of decades after that, those two going head to head. Birthdays today in 1960, on this date, Marcus Allen was born. He's a Hall of Famer, and he won the 1981 Heisman Trophy at USC. Of course, he turns 66 today. And then in 1962, another guy I know you guys will know, John Stockton, Hall of Fame point guard, and he led the NBA in assists 9 times in his career and was also an Olympic gold medalist. He turns 64 years old today. I bet he could still drop a few dimes.
While wearing the shortest shorts imaginable.
That's right. And then one final death of note here to note. You guys know who Curly Neal is? Curly Neal, the longtime legendary guard of the Harlem Globetrotters, passed away on this date in 2020 at the age of 77. Did y'all ever get to see the Globetrotters?
I did. I don't think Andrew has, but I got to see them. It's a hoot, man. It's fun.
Yeah, they came through. I want to say they came through East Texas somewhere. I was very young at the time, and my parents took me to see them. And I want to say it was at a high school gym somewhere. But anyway, I did get to see them up close, and Curly was probably there on the floor that night. But anyway, you don't hear much about the Globetrotters anymore. They've kind of become the Savannah Bananas. In honesty, that's kind of what the Savannah Bananas are. Final word for today as we get ready to close out the podcast comes from Joshua 1:9. It says, "Haven't I commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Whatever you're facing today, folks, don't shrink back. Remember, fear doesn't have the final say. your faith does. And Joshua 1:9 does remind us that we can move forward with courage because God is going with us. He's Matt and he's Andrew and I'm David, and this is From the Press Box on the Right Team podcast. Thank you once again for listening and supporting us right here from the heart of East Texas and in the Piney Woods. If you enjoy our show, just remind everyone, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube at the Right Team Podcast. You can also follow us on Facebook for additional content and updates that you don't want to miss. A big thank you, as always, to our sponsors, Styles Electric, East Texas Baptist University, and, of course, Right Team Services. We truly appreciate your support. Matt, appreciate you always, buddy. And Andrew, of course, thanks for jumping back on. We will have you probably phoning in from Fayetteville. We'll get some updates on the NCAA tournament and maybe some NBA action as we get into that now that you've shown your expertise on that as well. You can't be a Lakers fan when you do it.
I'll be honest, LeBron fan, not Lakers. I don't know if it makes it any better, but
so you're the team hopper.
Well, when you grow up an Arkansas fan and seeing that, I felt like I got to pick who I wanted to cheer for in the NBA.
Okay, well, we'll have you back regardless.
Sounds good.
So, folks, we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of From the Press Box. And until then, as Matt is holding up with pride his, what do you call that thing anyway?
It's a stuffed animal.
Is there a name for your mascot other than Pig?
Suey.
It's a Razorback.
Oh, it's the Razorback. That's it.
Oh, you want his
Randy
name?
the Razorback?
Big Red's his name. Big Red.
Okay.
Or the live mascot is named Tusk.
All right. Hey, I went to a college, university with a demon, the devil as a mascot. So we call him Vic the Demon, of course. So shout out to my Northwestern State buddies. Okay, we've kind of gotten off the rails here a little bit at the end. But again, we'll see you tomorrow. And until then, have a great day. And as always, keep writing your story.
This episode of the Right Team Podcast is also brought to you by Styles Electric. For over 25 years, Styles Electric has been providing reliable, professional electrical installation and repair service all throughout East Texas and beyond. We specialize in industrial and commercial projects of all sizes. We are proud to be a part of our communities and schools here in East Texas. Contact us today at 903-236-2536. That's Styles Electric, reliable, professional, and experienced.
Connecting students to their passion and equipping them for their purpose. East Texas Baptist University is a Christ-centered institution committed to challenging and encouraging each student in mind, body, and spirit. With over 45 undergraduate programs and 14 master's degrees, ETBU's educational experience enables you to discover your purpose, find your path, and pursue your calling. Join the Tiger family today. It's not too late. Apply today at etbu.edu/apply.
Did you know that someone somewhere is talking about you? Yes, your school district, your business, your church, your nonprofit group is always the subject of a conversation somewhere. Maybe it's Facebook gossip, maybe it's talk around the water cooler, maybe it's written in a newspaper or a blog somewhere. At Right Team Services, we work with you to manage that conversation more effectively, to give all of your stakeholders an opportunity to hear your message. We help you create a culture of transparency in your organization that makes your customers and stakeholders feel comfortable as part of the story, and as a result, will help your business or school district become a more effective, trusted member of your community. Contact me today at rightteamservices@gmail.com to learn more about how Right Team can help you tell your story.